time for another edition of Mace in Your Face.
Are you nuts?
Now, along with college football immortality, Glenn Mason, here's Dan Barreiro.
That's a pretty tough act to follow. Enjoyed our conversation with Derek Shelton. It's interesting, Mace. A lot of people enjoyed the discussion, but then I got a couple people saying, not trying to be snarky. They said, not trying to be snarky, but why would we devote that much time to an organization that seems so uncommitted or not committed to winning? And my answer to that would be, well, it's not like we turned the station over to him. He's the new manager. You like to get to know people when they come to town. You know, it doesn't have to be that means we're endorsing the fact that the Minnesota Twins are on their way to greatness. So to me, you know, you give them a chance, say hello to them. It's sort of like I was with you when you first got to town.
You were so benevolent.
I was open-minded early.
Yeah.
I was very open-minded.
I tell this story. I'm not going to tell it again, but Danny Green, who I knew before I came here when he was at Northwestern. The first advice I think I got from anybody was Danny Green.
Stay away from me.
I'm
saying I'm cleaning it up.
It was like beware.
Beware.
You know? No, the thing about it, I mean, that probably a minority. But you know what happens in all the sports, Dan? I've talked about it all the time. There's only two things. There's results and there's hope.
That's true.
And I assure you there's a lot more hope out there in results, because what happens in most organizations, I don't care, high school, college, pro, you name it, when people aren't getting the results that everybody would like, more often than not, rather than really sit down and taking a deep dive and figuring out what is the problem, the easy way is they fire the coach and they buy new hope. So this gentleman here, and he's, like you said, he might not try to be snarky. No, I don't even know what snarky means, but
I define it.
Well, anyway, I think a lot of people out there, they get new hope. It's rather than the same old story, they think it's going to be a new story. And I don't know anything. I sit in the other room, listen to him, and then chatted with him a few minutes. I was impressed. Yeah. I mean, as an individual, I'm sure he's a good baseball
He's got some personality to him. You can tell that for sure.
He looks good. Some guys don't look good with a beard.
He does.
He looks good in a beard.
You're right. You're right. He's got the look.
He could do one of those commercials, most interesting man,
Very true.
He really looks good.
Well, and he, the only place he might have gotten himself in trouble, and I let it go because it's all very subjective, but he mentioned that he thought that this World Series might be the best of his lifetime. Now, again, in this town, we're very, very defensive about that because we believe that the 1991 World Series was the greatest World Series of all time. I think it's arguable. I was here covering through all of it. It's the best sporting event for 7 games I've ever had to cover. But we get, how we're very parochial here. So it was like they were mad at him for saying, wait a minute. Our World Series is better than that World Series.
You got to get over that. It's always, that's ancient history.
That's true too.
Really, come on. Let's, who's the greatest of all time and all that stuff. I don't know. I would say, at least in present day, there's a lot of people that World Series you thought weren't even born.
That's also true.
A lot of them. So you look at it and say, man, that was really good.
What's stuck in your craw? You got something? I've got a number of directions I want to go, but
Okay,
you got some?
Yeah, I'll start right. I went to the Gopher Michigan State game. There's a lot of things I can talk about that, and not particularly about the game, but one thing that really hit me. I used to be critical. I used to say pro football, college football, no comparison. I'll tell you, pro football, the NFL, they've got it figured out for the fans.
How so?
When you watch a game, when I watch it on TV, before you know it, the first period's done.
Yes.
Then it's halftime. Then they're playing again. I went to that game, sitting there, and here's the analogy I'm going to give. Nothing really upsets me more. There's a lot of things that upset me. But when you go in person, let's say you need to check into a motel, and you're standing, you're talking to the guy, and the phone rings, and he picks up the phone, and they start talking. And you're standing and said, I'm here. Wait a minute. I'll be right with you.
Yes,
I understand.
yes.
But he keeps going and going, and I'm standing right there. My point is this. I go to that game, and there's so many timeouts. And now they got this deal. I love this, Dan. The guy goes on field, they're going to start, and he puts up the sign with the clock on it, okay? And it says 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But 30 seconds have already gone by. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And every time I turn around and look at that, I couldn't believe how many there were. I'm starting to think, how long this game's going to be? And my point is this. They're making a big, big mistake. They're playing to the guy that's on the phone, like the guy in the hotel,
right?
Rather than the guy that's sitting right there. It might be cold. It might be raining. It might be ever. And you're sitting there and you're watching that clock tick. It's terrible. They're ruining the game. And who's they? TV.
So what's the solution?
I think they got to do like wherever the NFL's doing. NFL tries to get the game.
Because they have commercials.
I know that, but it doesn't
feel the same to you.
It doesn't. I don't have any factual information. All I know when I watch a pro game, that first quarter is over. It's gone. Yeah. And next thing the game's over, and the next game's on. It's crazy. I don't know how long that game lasted, but I can tell you, even when I was coaching, every year we'd have the coaches meeting, and Dave Perry, who was the head of officials, he'd come in and say, "Oh, fellas, we got a problem. We got to get these games under 3 hours." Well, what do we have to do with it? What are you talking about? You got to do some things. I mean, there's some structural things they could do, like not stopping the clock on first down or when the ball goes out of bounds and things like that, or 92 timeouts or whatever it may be. Now, granted, the half times are longer because of the college ban, but you're not going to do anything about that. I think it's 12 minutes compared to 20. But I'm just telling you that watching that game in a magnificent setting. Yeah. At I want to say TCF Bank Stadium, but it's not at Huntington Bank. Now things change. But the other thing I'm going to tell you, I've been in that stadium before, working for the Big Ten Network, as you know. And it's always been a great experience. But I had some extra time. I walked around and looked at all that stuff. It's a great stadium. It really, really is.
Did you? I don't even think you told us you were going to go last week. Was this a late invitation? Can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up?
Well, I got an invitation from John Glenn. Our old. I shouldn't say, you call me an old coach. He's my old Coors Light guy. And I went, and my daughter, Chris, and her husband went, had a magnificent time. I was a little surprised. This is not a criticism, but he has a pass in the gold lot. You know what the gold lot is?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
It's right next. It's great lot. And I had been in there before because that's where I would go through when I'm big. It was damn empty. And I couldn't figure it out. Oh, this is going to be a bad crowd. The crowd was not reflective of that. Now, there's a lot of great tailgating scenes because I went to a number of them. I don't know what the name of the lots were.
Right, Skyuma.
I kept walking. I mean, I went to one that was on the other side of Mariucci.
37.
Then
He's trying to help.
I mean, I'm just trying to help you. You don't know where you're going down there. I'm just trying to help you.
And then I went to another one just on the other side of Maturi Pavilion. I just want you to know.
I think that's 56.
I knew you'd know. Anyway, it was great. I mean, the beverages were great. The people were great. The whole deal.
You didn't graffiti it, did you?
No.
That's what I'm worried about. The way you had that big grin on your face. No. I'm talking maybe you took it like a magic marker.
Some guy, though, like one of those smart you-know-whats. He said, Coach, can I take a picture? And he positioned me right there.
Did he really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's tremendous.
Yeah.
I want that photo.
I didn't get the picture, though.
Oh, I want that photo. I'm surprised you agreed to it.
I didn't know it was there.
Oh, you didn't know when you did it?
When he did it.
Did he know?
I'm sure he did.
That was
because he kept saying, move over
just a little bit.
I love it. And he wasn't real close to me.
Yeah.
He was like,
I love that. I love that.
And he was laughing while he was doing it. So, geez, I don't know. But I can tell you this. In the game, all right, Gophers were lucky to win, but they won. A win's a win. Michigan State. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard me say this before. Poorly coached football team.
Ooh.
They don't, for Michigan State, as I knew Michigan State, they don't have a lot of talent, but they're poorly coached. And the other thing is when I watch games or in person, I am really nonpartisan. Maybe
I agree.
because of, everything I did. And so I watch intently, though. And when I watched Michigan State come out of the locker room, they gave me the feeling they didn't even want to be there.
Oh.
They really did. They looked like they were going out to practice, And I for a number of reasons, first of all, they had 10 penalties. Okay, 10 penalties. And the other thing is that I think they ran the toss sweep 4 times. I don't think they gained 1 yard. And it seemed like they did it like in every critical situation. So the last one, the game's on the line.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's like 3rd and 1. And I said to the one guy I'm with, I said, I bet you a beer. Here comes the toss sweep. Short of toss sweep, no gains. How'd you know that? I said, they've done it every time. He said, why would they do that? I said, because there's some offensive coordinator over there looking at his play sheet, and he's saying, here's the game plan. Yeah. 3rd and 1, toss sweep. Are you nuts? It just... And then they finally get the lead, and they kick the ball out of bounds.
Can't make it up. And a face mask penalty.
Well, that happens, though.
Yeah, right.
And it was very fortunate. The officials did the right thing, but
let me ask you.
On the pass interference. Are you going there? But I'm going to just tell you this. It was not pass. It was a bad call. Cannot review it.
Should it have been?
Which I've always been.
You wanted to. Should it have been? Could it be a holding call? Would you have accepted?
No, it was nothing.
You didn't think it was anything.
No.
But here's my question.
Can I finish, please?
Well, no, because
when I get done, then I'll listen to you. Okay, that's the way.
Stopped.
That's
the way. I've not even said a word.
So I'm sitting, and this is crazy. But then they have it on that big replay screen.
Yes.
And I look, and it's the same thing. And I know what happened there. They can't replay. But I bet that referee looked up there and goes, oh, man, come on, let's have a little group here. And he probably said, hey, Billy Bob, I don't know what you're looking at, but that was let's just talk for a few minutes and let's wave this thing off because it was a bad call.
But here's the key to it. There have been calls waved off before. I don't remember, you tell me, I literally do not remember another time when the penalty has been announced and the ball has been moved to that spot, and then they still say, oh, never mind. That, to me, is a dangerous precedent.
There's no doubt.
You'd lost your mind if you were the Michigan State coach in that situation, rightly.
Because how many times you see pass interference overturned?
Yes.
Especially that long. You see it sometimes, and the guy will come running in from the side
Correct.
and say, I saw it.
Correct.
No, but that was my point. I know what happened. About the 3rd time it played on the big screen, the referee's looking, saying, we got a problem here. Now, they got it right.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that's a bad precedent, too.
Horrible precedent.
That's why I always advocated when I was coaching that every coach should have one challenge throughout the game on any penalty. Any penalty.
Yeah.
Okay? And I always maintain it always would happen late in the game, in a close game, on a play that was going to define the game. So that you could say, hey, I'm throwing the flag because that was pass interference, or that wasn't pass. And most of the times, bad calls are on pass interference.
Well, you got some detractors out here today.
I don't care.
Wait, college football games are too long, but Mace wants PI reviewable. You're going to add to the length of the game. If you make more calls reviewable, you think that's going to shorten the game?
Make it right. Throw a couple timeouts out, and you have time.
Boy, I almost don't want to read this one. My God, this is just so sugary. I wonder if somebody in your family wrote this. Supposedly, he identifies himself as Saul in Blaine. With what the Gophers have now to work with, better facilities, on-campus stadium, Mace would have won at least 2 Big Ten titles and would have easily dominated the old division setup and would have easily had the Gophers the Big Ten title game on a minimum bi-yearly basis. I will die on this hill. His offenses were the most appealing to watch in all my years being a Gopher fan. I'm 44, to quote Mike Gundy, I am a man. Love this segment. That's Saul and Blaine.
Yeah.
Where do you want me? Let's find out. You want to send the check to Saul?
Well, it's nice to have a guy that gets on the show really knows what he's talking about.
My God.
No, but you know what? Let me tell you something. And at all the criticism I take, I don't beat my chest for him. I move on. But I'm telling you,
what kind of criticism do you take? What are you talking about? From me.
So,
when's the last thing I've criticized you on?
Whatever. Just give us
just
But
making
anyway,
stuff up now. Fact and fiction.
When I was doing a Big Ten game with Matt Devlin he was the play-by-play guy. Is the voice of the Raptors in basketball. And the first time he was in there, he said, This is great. This stadium is great. Great. And then he asked me, he said, let me ask you a question. He said, how different would it have been if you had this stadium, these facilities, when you coached? And I said, that's hard to answer, but I don't know, 1 win a year, And all of a sudden, he came back and said, 1 win a year. Do you know what you'd have been accomplishing here if you, at Minnesota, with 1 more winning? You can't prove that. But I can tell you this, and anybody that doesn't agree with this, I don't care. That stadium, compared to that dome, or I used to affectionately call it the dump, no comparison.
2 World Series were won there.
I don't care.
Just saying.
I don't
Final
care.
Fours were held there.
How many Super Bowls were won there? How many Big Ten championships?
The Redskins beat the Bills in 1992.
Yeah, actually, there were some Super Bowls there. That's true.
Yeah.
It was
Rolling Stones
not by the
there.
Vikings.
Well, you've never gave
I don't
that,
care.
You never gave that stadium
1 and 1
a chance. You never gave the Metrodome a chance.
You 1 and 1 equals 5. I'm not going to even argue.
It's just like, because this is very. First of all, if I'm so negative with you, I'm the guy who I could have ignored the text. I didn't have to read it. You would never have known that text had been sent in. I'm the guy who was selfless enough to read it to give you a chance to blow your own horn.
You're the guy.
It's unbelievable.
You're the guy that at least has a conscience, and you feel so bad
I wouldn't go that
for what
far.
you've done to me over the years.
I've remade you.
Okay,
in this town.
let's move on.
Absolutely. I have because of this show, your personality has had a chance to show itself, and people who used to despise you now love you.
Now, here's my last shot at Michigan. We know they're not a very good.
I didn't understand this is unusual for you to be this critical.
I am
of the
because
coaching.
it drove me because it's not fair to the kids.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there, and they're not a very good football team.
No.
And they're in a game they could win, all right?
Yeah, they should.
I'm just going to tell you, they're not very good. So now they get on first down, they pick up 8 or 9 yards. They got second and short. I'm going to tell you, you're in that situation, get the first down. Don't try to, and so they throw some pass, incomplete. They come back on third down, throw another incomplete, and they punt the ball. Why? You got to avoid losing before you can win. And that team, Michigan State, and you've not heard me be critical like that.
No.
I think this I don't know what they're paying. These just because you pay a guy a lot of money doesn't mean he does a good job of coaching. And just because a guy doesn't get paid doesn't mean he's not a great coach. And I know I'm unfair. I only have seen him play one time.
Yeah,
but in that stadium last week,
I think it's
terrible.
because you were there. Maybe I don't know if you would you react the same way watching it?
No, because when I was doing Big Ten Network and I'd study, I'd say, you know what? I used to say this all the time. There are a lot of bad coaches out there. Now, I'll tell you this. We mentioned Denny Green before. And I think I mentioned this before one time. When I was at Ohio State, we were playing Northwestern, getting ready to play Northwestern, when Denny Green was the coach. And I'm watching. They don't have any talent. They're not very good. I'll never forget it. I shut the projector off and I said, fellas, let's hope this guy doesn't get any talent because he has to line them up. And they're a well-coached football team. They just didn't have guys.
Well, that's why he ended up having the opportunities he did, because I think people saw that. They saw, well, he can coach. He just, at Northwestern, he just doesn't have very much talent. He gave
me one of the great laughs when I was coaching. I went out, we were playing at North Evanston late in the year, went out there, and it was cloudy, dark, and it was snow flurry. And Denny had this beautiful white down jacket on, and I walked up to him, I said, Denny, I said, man, you look great. He turned around and he said, Mace, he said, who you kidding? I look like a 500-pound marshmallow. I couldn't stop laughing.
Self-deprecating to a fault. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. We got a lot of texts that are coming in here, and I'm not going to be able to read some of them. But some of them I think I can. Didn't Lou Holtz say he didn't care about the Metrodome and said he could win there? He made no excuses.
Yeah.
It's a good point. That's a box. That's a box.
And he left.
Well, he left for Notre Dame.
And what was it? You know what? I had some people. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I'm not getting involved.
Do it. Come on. Let it go.
That's fine.
Pull the trigger.
That's fine. Yeah.
What do you mean that's fine? You can't start and stop.
Yeah, that's fine.
You were about.
That's right.
Were you about to say?
No, I'm not. No, you want me to? I'm not going to lower it to your level.
It's got nothing to do with lowering. It's what you. It's obviously what you believe. So let it go. Be honest about it. Don't just let it fester.
Well, all I can tell you, every year I'm biased when your brethren, the sports writers, ranked the Big Ten stadiums.
Yeah.
Who was dead last, even behind Northwestern? Huh?
I don't know. Is that true? I don't remember.
It was true. Yes, it was. Yeah. You know why I know that? Because it was used against us in recruiting like you couldn't believe.
Most versatile stadium in the Big Ten.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Think of all the things. There were tractor pulls there. Super Bowls there. Rolling Stones were there.
They were. You know what?
Vikings played there. Twins won 2
Well, let me tell you something.
There.
Tom Kelly didn't have any problems.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. I never heard Tom Kelly grouse about it once. Yeah. And none of us liked indoor baseball, but we dealt with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Twins dealt with it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Good. Yeah. The dome was great. Yeah.
So I've gone down a 1996, 1997 Dan Barreiro, Glenn Mason rabbit hole.
Oh, why do you do this? Because it's just going to get him going again.
Well, no, you said I had an open mind at the beginning, so
I did.
Fact versus fiction. I wanted to see if I could find it.
Oh.
I'm still looking for that part of it. The open mind column.
That's a deep hole, buddy.
Might be.
You did write a column where you talked to Dooley, your Georgia guy.
Oh, Vince.
To kind of set the stage on Mace and talk about why he was a good coach and things like that. But I haven't found anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that before. You took the Georgia job for like a day, right? Or was it 2 days? It was a week. Okay. Yeah, we talked about all that. I got along great with Vince Dooley when I covered him.
Good. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying.
There was a letter to the editor. There was a letter to the editor that scolded you, Dan, for being too negative on the Gopher players.
And not negative enough on the coach?
But they did say, if you're going to direct criticism, basically the Mike Gundy, do it to the grown man. Leave the players alone. But if Glenn Mason deserves criticism, you should criticize him.
He took that advice.
I was hoping you did that one out.
He jumped right.
I follow directions. The direct Lou Holtz quote, this is from Dan Minnesota, the unofficial official sports historian of the Bumper to Bumper program. Here's the Holtz quote. The kids want to play in the dome.
Yeah.
He was wrong.
Just saying.
Yeah. That's right.
The kids, they gravitated towards it.
But he wanted to coach.
Very novel.
In front of touchdown Jesus.
Yeah, that's Notre Dame, though. It had nothing to do with the stadium. He'd have gone to Notre Dame if they had a dome stadium there. It was Notre Dame.
The Golden Dome?
The Golden Dome. That's different. All right, bottom of the hour break. More with
money first.
In your face. Let's do some money.
The fan and thank God. 2 men and a junk truck. Want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks. It is our national cash contest. The keyword is deposit. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword deposit.
We need another 42 now. No. This is like first break. 612 guy writes, I love this episode of Get Mace Going. In defense of Mace, writes Ryan in Minnetrista, he coached in a different era than Holtz. Facilities meant less, and also multi-sport complexes were much more acceptable during Holt's time. That's true. Now, that doesn't mean he was right. They were right, but that was...
The dome was terrible. Write it down. End of story.
I'm not denying it, but it was at that point in the early days perceived differently, just like the Houston Astrodome was perceived differently. The Indianapolis Hoosier Dome. Now, we reached a point where these multi-purpose things are not the way to go, and you got to have your arena or stadium on campus as well. By the way,
let me just add to that, though. One thing. The other thing where I'm a little bit tainted on the whole thing is that I assume that the Gophers had to be part of the deal to get that dome moving downtown. Mm-hmm. We had no rights.
Yeah, well,
zero.
Right.
I mean, if you think...
Well, you know to blame for that. Metropolitan Sports Facilities Commission.
Whoever negotiated the deal... Yeah. I made a comment one time. I'm going to tell you, I don't know if he's still alive. I made a comment to Bill Lester. Bill Lester.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I like Bill Lester. Don't get me wrong, but I went down there and I was looking to get 2 weekends a year for recruiting that it was set up like a field. And I couldn't because I'd have guys in and it looked like a tractor pull, snowmobile contest, you name it. And he said, no, you can't do that. of which I got a little perturbed. And I said, this is ridiculous. I said, I don't know, because I read the contract. I said, I don't know who negotiated the contract for the university, but one of the two things is apparent to me. Either they were on the take or they were stupid. And, oh, my God. He said, you better be careful what you say. I said, I'm just telling you what I think.
Said that to Lester?
Absolutely. I said it to him. And I wasn't saying about him because
I get it. Yeah.
Because if you would have seen the locker room we had to use and we had no rights and we had to move games, do this. It was now, if you check out when I first came here, I said great things about the Dome. You know why?
You had to.
Because I had to play there. And if I said negative things, it was used against me recruiting.
You had no choice
I was verifying what they're saying. Now, I got to the place. I said, that's self-serving. And I didn't want the guy that would follow me to come in here and say, we got, and have, like you two guys, Kelly liked it. Lou Holtz liked it. I didn't want him to say, well, hey, Mason had no problem with it. I wanted to say, you know what? I'm going to say the right thing. This is terrible. It's got to go back on campus. And I never, and I wasn't self-serving because I never thought I'd ever coach in there. And I was right. But that was the right thing to do.
Mace?
Yeah.
Thank you.
For what?
It's a wonderful stadium.
It is. It's a wonderful stadium.
I love working there. I say it every week.
Whoever was responsible for moving out of Memorial Stadium and putting a swimming pool in the middle, come on. Why would you? Why
didn't you ever go out? Sid?
Why would you?
Why didn't you ever go after Sid? Sid loved the Dome.
Rest in peace.
I agree, but I'm just saying.
Did he own the land?
No, but he had a lot of power.
Yeah, but my point is, why would you all of a sudden move out of there and the stadium was still there? And before they knocked the stadium down, they put a swimming pool on the field. Why?
Well,
were they afraid maybe one day they'd move
it's
back?
It's possible.
Yeah,
they weren't selling out Memorial Stadium before it went away. Their attendance stunk at Memorial Stadium.
Well, maybe
the last
they
few
had
years.
to improve the stadium.
Maybe they needed to improve the team.
Yeah. Well, of course, but
that had to be part of the deal
too. It's all part of it. You ever hear of commitment?
Commitment? Yeah.
Huh?
Well, they got it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying.
They got it now. It's not my fault that you came along too soon.
You're defending it, though.
No, I'm just saying. that sometimes you got to work with what you got to work with. That's what we do here at KFAN. We got to work with what you think
Dan and me here.
We would like better facilities.
Yeah.
But
this is like the Taj Mahal. Who you kidding?
We'd like more support staff. It's just Dan and me.
It is. There's no one else here in the afternoon.
It's just the two of us.
Literally.
I thought that's the way it is.
Somebody else over there. I don't know who that is.
That's probably Blakemore.
Is that Blakemore?
Or Kessler.
Hey, come on, let's get back. Hey, we got a big game.
What's more likely to happen? What's more likely to happen? Iowa beats Oregon or Penn State beats Indiana? What's more likely of those two things to happen?
Iowa beat Oregon. Yeah, I think so. Even though I think it's a trap game for Indiana at Penn State. It's interesting. I think Iowa's not a talented team, but they're a darn good team. When I saw them play, I was impressed, and he's made some changes offensively. They continue to play good defense, but as I was sitting watching that game on TV, I said, man, are they aggressive. And they're good offense and defensive lines. If the quarterback hadn't got hurt, they might have beat Indiana.
Possible, yeah.
They're a team, if you're really good and everybody says you probably should favored to win them, you don't want to play them. Now, here's an interesting thing that I came across about Oregon and Iowa. The last time Oregon played in Kinnick Stadium, which was 1989.
89.
Kirk Ferentz was the offensive line coach. Dan Lanning was 3 years old. How's that?
That's impressive.
Huh?
That's a good stat.
I started thinking about it. I can't believe that. And I thought, 1989, heck, I was in my second year at Kansas. And Dan Lanning, went to high school there in Kansas City. Jeez.
Guardsy, what is the spread in the
6.5, I think.
Oregon?
Oregon.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'll check it.
Yeah. 6.5. Yeah. Interesting.
Now, here's the other thing, which is really impressive. Since 2000, Iowa has upset 7 AP top 10 teams. That's pretty impressive.
That is impressive.
Very impressive.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Good stat. Good nugget. I got one for you.
Yeah.
In all games this season, 2025 season, Indiana, 404, opponents 97. Average margin of victory is 34. Big Ten games, Indiana, 248, opponents 74. Average margin of victory, 41-12, 29 points. And you doubted them.
I
continue to doubt the Hoosiers.
You doubt them. But, you know what? And that's very, very impressive. You know one thing I'd worry about in that whole thing?
What?
How about that close game in the fourth quarter?
Well, the Iowa game was kind of close.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're really battle hard. Like they talk about Georgia now. Seems like Georgia starts slow and anything.
Yeah.
It comes down to the fourth, and somehow, some way.
That's a concern.
They win. Maybe not. They're a really good football team. And ranked number 2 in the country, you got to be good. If, based on those stats, if they didn't have an IU on their helmet, they had that silver helmet or Alabama, they'd probably be number 1.
Probably true.
Come on.
952 guy nails it. Quoting you, Penn State is a trap game for Indiana. What world is this? It's so true. Think about how absurd that statement in any other year before Signetti would sound that Indiana going to Penn State, that's a trap game for Indiana. Better be careful.
Yeah, I say
it's a different world.
Indiana's on a roll. Great. Penn State has not won a Big Ten game.
And they got nothing to lose.
Can you believe that? But my point being, the guys down at Indiana, if they start going, we got that one. Penn State still has play. There was a reason why they were a preseason pick to be a national
to win it
champ.
all.
They recruit. They recruit well every year. They get the 4 stars, 5 stars, whatever that means. They've got talent. Now they're messed up. Okay. Now what I don't know, they may be really messed up because when you fire your head coach, everybody is eligible for the transfer portal. So if guys are more worried and talking to their agents about where can I go, this, that, and the other, rather than focusing on Penn State, but if someone, leadership there, either coach leadership or player leadership, can bring those guys together and say, hey, you know what we're playing for? We're playing for pride. You don't play for a ring. You play for your own pride, your team. And you say, we can feel really good if we knock Indiana off.
That's the scary part.
That's why it's a trap game.
100% true. Let's get a break. One more in. I've got a gambling question I need to ask you next. Mace, in your face. Kessler coming up at 5.
Time now for the Vikings Report on The Fan, presented by Miller Lite. Vikings wide receiver Adam Thielen joins Dan Barreiro next. From the 651 Carpets Plus, home of the Next Day Install Studios, this is Barreiro on FM 100.3 KFAN, The Fan.
A quick Vikings item as we wrap things up with Mace in your face. It appears we are one of a number of teams that will accommodate the wishes of Asante Samuel Jr. He's going kind of on tour, and he plans to visit us, the Niners, the Bears, the Steelers, the Panthers, and the Packers.
Wow.
So he is in demand. And I know because we got a lot of questions yesterday about the possibility of adding Asante Samuel Jr. to the mix now that he has been cleared to play. Latest, we've talked a lot of gambling with you recently, but there's a development that we talked on the show about yesterday that makes no sense to me, but I want to get your view on it, that the NCAA seems to be, so far, willing to go along with at least the possibility of allowing college players to bet on pro sports. Now, the head of the SEC, I think it's Sankey, has said this is preposterous and absurd and dangerous and ridiculous. It sounds crazy to me, too. So wouldn't you be a little concerned about
absolutely
what that means?
The biggest threat to any sport is gambling. Because if the fix is in, you lose all credibility in what you're doing. And there for years, we tried to keep guys away, players away, coaches away, and they had the rule I mean, that you couldn't even be, as a coach or a player in the NCAA, if you participated in a Final Four pool, March Madness pool, that was a violation. You could, and because they don't want you in gambling, and to say, why would you want that? Why would you? Oh, that's okay. And encourage, especially with the use of ready-made gambling right on your phone all the time. Yeah. It's insane. Yeah. And Dan, when I was the president of the American Football Coaches Association, one year we went on a lobbying group, myself and I think about 3 or 4 other coaches, Terry Donahue, and I think Lou Holtz was there. And we went to Washington. We all had a lobby, so we went around to see all the politicians to try to make sure that sports books weren't legalized in states, at that time only in Nevada, and trying to guard against that happening because of the threat of what it could do to sports. And there wasn't one politician that I talked to, and that I think any other coach say the same thing, that they didn't say, yeah, I would be in favor of that, but you got no chance. And I said, why is that? They said, because Reid, what was his first name? The guy from Nevada? Politician? Harry Reid.
Oh, Harry Reid,
Harry Reid will never bring it up for a vote. I said, he's got that much power? They said, absolutely. But to go the other way and let this happen, especially at a time when you see that you had the issues down, I think, at Iowa and Iowa State. We've had issues in basketball before.
Baseball?
It's baseball. It's happening in pro football, right now. Why would encourage it? Same way, why would the Big Ten take their annual media days out of Chicago and take them to Las Vegas?
Guardsey's excited about that.
But why?
We had a great time.
Nice dinner.
That's because they got good buffets there. Come on, let's be honest.
Fair.
Okay?
They should never leave Indianapolis, I don't think.
They should, well, whatever. Yeah. Why would you go out there? There's no Big Ten school in Nevada. Yet. Yeah. But okay. I mean, it just, you wonder who's making those decisions. I just don't understand.
Well, the NCAA, as you know, we've talked about this before, it seems like they've gone from being one of the most autocratic, regimes to now they're afraid they lose everything, and so they just don't even fight at this point.
Well, the other thing is everybody's worried about player rights.
Yeah.
Oh, they're human beings. They've got rights, okay? Now, let me just say the ridiculous scenario. As we know, TV controls start times. No one knows you don't know if you're going to play it at 11 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock or 2:30 or at nighttime. And a lot of those games times aren't decided until Sunday before the game. So hypothetically, let's say all of a sudden you think you have 11 o'clock game. That's what you're thinking. And now it's, it comes out, no, you're going to be playing at 7 o'clock on whatever. And a bunch of guys say, hey, we can't go to the game. That's our fraternity formal that night. We planned. We had plans. It was supposed to be 11 o'clock game, and now, we can't go to the game. Well, that's their players' right. That's right. Doesn't anybody talk to them about what you think about playing at night? Or when the kid says, I thought I was going to play at 11 o'clock and it was a away game and I'd probably get home for dinner time, but no, I'm going to play 7 o'clock at night and it's out in wherever it is and I'm not going to get home to 3 o'clock in the morning. Isn't that their right too?
Well, yes, except that we all know that the real commissioners are the ones who run TV.
Absolutely. So. I couldn't agree with you more.
Anything else before we go? We got to wrap up. We got Kessler coming up to talk about a big election day yesterday. Lots of elections determined. We got an incumbent mayor wins. We got another incumbent mayor who is out. St. Paul. Any quickies before we go?
Well, we've talked about Nebraska a lot on this show. And Nebraska, everybody keeps, wait till next year. We're going to get back to we were in the 90s. I don't think they're ever going to get back there. And I said, if Matt Rule can't get it done, and, he lost again to USC, and it's not the USC that we always remember. They're just not a very good football team. And now they lost their quarterback. And yet their head coach ends up with a better contract than Cignetti. That makes no sense. Well, it's insanity. I keep telling you, in college, I don't know who's making those decisions. ADs, board of trustees, presidents. with public money, it's crazy.
One last text, and I'll ask Guardsy if he'd heard about this too. This is from Jeff in, looks like, is it Richfield? Yeah, Richfield. I know you don't talk a lot of UFC, but did you see the FBI is investigating fixed fights? They had one that took place just this past Saturday. Lines on a heavily favored fighter shifted last minute when 5 huge bets were placed against the favorite. Lo and behold, the favorite lost easily. Feds said there could be over 100 fights involved. I missed that completely.
So did I.
Yeah, that's my point. Hey, let's not forget, we still got to get the Jacks. Got to do that.
We do.
Really, it's that we're overdue.
Well, you had a big breakfast with Guardsy, I heard.
Well, yeah.
He
you didn't get invited?
No, I didn't get invited, but he barely got a word in edgewise, is what I was told.
Why?
Because of you.
Wait a minute. He had pancakes, French toast, eggs,
Maggie's
bacon.
special.
I mean, our good friend Dave Dino from Tampa, that's a Michigan guy, but he's a Gopher fan also.
Right.
And really...
and he liked the Dome.
No.
Big fan of the Dome.
No. Okay. You know what he said?
What?
He said he's down there in Tampa, St. Petersburg, that baseball stadium.
Sure, yeah.
He told me, and you were there, he said that thing is the worst athletic facility other than the Dome.
Did he really say that?
Yep.
Oh, that explains it. Thank you.
I only had French toast. I didn't have pancakes.
I'm assuming that there was
Cafe.
A bit. Well, he's Fact or Fiction guy. He makes stuff up. Carrie Limo, we always appreciate their help, your help as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, will we see you back here next week?
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful thing. All right. Kessler is coming up. That's the plan. I'm actually bowing out a little early today, so Guardsy's in charge the rest of the way.
Out at 6 tonight.
And you're out at 6 tonight anyway, correct? For Wolves hoop action?
Yeah, we got to get Vikings programming in first, and then Wolves Knicks. The return of Anthony Edwards, we believe.
Another national. It's the first of two. That's the ESPN first game of the national doubleheader. I think on ESPN tonight. They have some games, don't they? ESPN.
They do. Yeah, I don't know if they're on.
I like them better. I do. I like the NBA better on NBC and Peacock. I'm not going to lie.
Is that right?
I do like the coverage of it better, and it's not just nostalgia. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. Top of the hour pause and Kessie coming up.